ever have your own road stolen out from under you? Not by thieves in the night, but by a plastic tie and an HOA president who smelled like expensive soap and power trips? Yeah, that happened to me. I was standing there, cold coffee in hand, staring at an orange notice slapped right onto my private road sign, wondering when exactly the world had gone mad. Let me back up a sec. My uncle passed away and left me his house and the narrow strip of cracked asphalt leading up to it. A private road, deeded, stamped, signed by the county, and tucked away in a folder in my kitchen drawer. I'd barely owned the place a month. Mornings were still new, the kind where your breath hangs white in the pine trees and you half expect the past to greet you at the door. But that morning, the past came in the shape of Victoria Pituin, president of the Maple Ridge Estates HOA. Coat too nice for the weather, smile just a shade too polite. She stepped out of her Lexus with a clipboard hugged to her chest like a shield. I'd seen her before, but never this close. Never close enough to realize she had the kind of eyes that didn't blink unless she meant it. "Jake Morrison?" she asked, voice clipped and certain, like I'd failed an unspoken test. I nodded. "Welcome to Maple Ridge Estates. Congratulations on your inheritance." She pointed at my sign, then at the orange notice cinched so tight to the post it might as well have been welded there. "This road falls under HOA authority now." I couldn't help it. I laughed. "It's a private road. It's in the deed. It belongs to me." She just tilted her head, like I was an unruly child. "Ownership doesn't mean you can ignore community governance." She tapped the notice with a manicured fingernail. "This road connects to Maple Ridge Estates. Therefore, HOA authority applies." It was the way she said it. No doubt, no invitation to debate. Just gravity delivered by someone who thought the law was whatever she decided. A couple neighbors walked their dogs across the street, eyes darting away from me like my property might be contagious. "Why now?" I asked. "You saw the inheritance go through and decided this was your shot." Victoria's smile tightened. "I saw an access issue that needed to be resolved." I stared her down, feeling my temper spike. "It was resolved when my uncle bought it." "The community has rules," she replied, "and those rules are recorded." I glanced at the orange notice. "Is my road recorded too?" She didn't blink. "HOA authority applies." That sentence stuck to me like a tack pressed against my throat. I reached for my phone and snapped a picture, making sure my private road sign was in the frame. Victoria watched. "Yo tense. Photographs won't change authority," she said. "They change what you can deny later," I replied. She just stared. "You'll receive a certified copy of this notice and instructions from our attorney. Tell your attorney to read the recorded title," I said, the old anger simmering under my skin. She turned away, boots crunching on the cold asphalt like she owned the sound itself. 14 days, Mr. Morrison. Don't make this difficult." I stood there alone, the orange notice rustling in the wind, feeling like the only honest thing left in a world full of paper threats. Later that evening, my daughter glanced up from her homework as I opened a stiff envelope from the HOA. Certified mail, official letterhead, every word a threat wrapped in fake politeness. "Is that more HOA stuff, Dad?" she asked. "Yeah," I muttered, scanning down a list of violations: unauthorized signage, unauthorized access, failure to submit road use documentation. Assumed HOA authority, bold, official, and just as made up as the rest. A knock sounded at the back door. 3 solid raps. Tom Kowalski stood there, my neighbor 2 houses down, built like a cinder block, retired state trooper. He didn't ask to come in. He never did. He just sat at my table, picked up the letter, and read it, eyes narrowing. "They're assuming authority," I said, not even pretending it's up for discussion. "That's the play," Tom replied. "They write it down like it's already law, hoping you'll treat it like it is." I ran a hand over my face, frustration giving way to something darker. "But it's my road. County recorded. That's the only answer that matters," he said, pointing at the phrase assumed authority. "That's not confidence. That's a bluff. Real authority doesn't assume. It's cited, documented. This is just them daring you to push back. My daughter looked up again, pencil frozen midair. Can they do that? They can try, Tom said, not sugarcoating it. He pulled a battered notebook from his coat and scribbled something down. First, you don't argue with Victoria. You don't give her the stage. You go to the records. Power hates facts. His words landed heavy. I realized then, Victoria wasn't betting on her own strength. She was betting on my fear. The next morning, I walked to the mailbox. Neighbors avoided my eyes. Conversations cut short. Inside my box, someone had slipped a printout, a screenshot from next door. HOA must control private access. It screamed in bold. Comments piled underneath. Safety, precedent, rules. Nobody named names, but everybody knew who they meant. Back at home, I pulled out the old folder from the estate. Deeds, surveys, records. My uncle's careful legacy, yellowed and faded but still legible. There was the recorded title stamped by the county, naming the road and setting its boundaries, years before the HOA existed. But I knew how Victoria would spin it. It's outdated. Interpretation matters. That's how power talks when it wants to outlast you. My phone buzzed. Tom again. You seeing this? The next door stuff. Yeah, they're trying to make you the problem before you can prove they are. Copies don't shout, I said. Original records do. Kinda got the real one, Tom replied. We go tomorrow. The county clerk's office smelled like old paper and decisions nobody could undo. Tom led the way, cool as ever. The clerk found the original file, thicker than my time in the neighborhood, pages yellowed, but the ink bold and clear. Private road. No HOA authority. And then came the twist, the kind that changes the whole fight. Cynthia Walsh, HOA secretary, quietly stepped forward in the records office. Her face said she hadn't slept in days. Victoria knew, she whispered. The board knew, but most people don't come here. Most people just fold when they see a letterhead. Tom didn't miss a beat. But the record doesn't fold. Cynthia met my eyes. There's a hearing next week, she whispered. Victoria wants an audience. I walked in the clubhouse with a certified copy in my folder, every seat filled, the air thick with tension and curiosity. Victoria called the meeting to order, her voice steady, her blazer flawless. The association has authority, she declared. We are here to address noncompliance. I stood. Let's read the recorded title, I said, handing the document to Bill Harper, a neighbor and retired insurance adjuster, the kind of man who only believes what's written down. He projected it on the screen for all to see. Private road. No HOA authority. A ripple ran through the room. Not outrage, just the sound of people finally paying attention. Victoria pushed back, claimed context, but this time it didn't land. A neighbor asked, so the HOA never had authority over that road? Bill answered before Victoria could. According to the county record, no. And then Cynthia, trembling but firm, stepped up with a stack of minutes. There was never a vote. No discussion. No approval. Victoria es puterev. As president, I have discretion. Not without a vote, Cynthia replied. A man in the third row stood up. So, you claimed authority you never had? Silence. Tom broke it. That's the question, and it deserves an answer. Victoria straightened, tried one last time to assert control. The association acted in the best interests of the community. That's not an answer, another resident said. And right there, the dam broke. One by one, voices joined in, not yelling but not silent anymore. You scared people with fines. You were wrong. You claimed power you never earned. I stood calm, heart thundering but hands steady. This isn't about embarrassment. It's about process. You don't get to claim authority just because it's convenient. Bill said, when authority is real, it's documented. When it's not, it collapses under daylight. Cynthia added, I'm submitting these minutes into the record. I'm formally stating the board was misled. A hand went up. Motion to remove the president. The vote passed, swift and silent, the way real justice often is. Victoria packed her things and left alone, the gavel on the table. Just a prop now. Cynthia took charge. The board posted a public jurisdiction map, made authority transparent, required documented votes for all enforcement. No more assumed power. No more threats on orange paper. The next morning, I walked the length of my road at sunrise. The air smelled of cold earth and wood smoke, and something else too. Closure. At the entrance, a new sign stood, private road. Respect the recorded title. No threats, no warnings. Just fact. Neighbors who'd once looked away now stopped to chat, to thank me. Not for yelling, not for fighting, but for insisting on proof. Cynthia knocked on my door that afternoon, handed me a list. Other places where authority had been assumed, where people had paid fines just to be left alone. This goes to the board now, she said. Transparency isn't optional anymore. The fight was over, but the work, the real, honest, record-keeping kind, had just begun. What's the lesson? That power given isn't power earned. That a process, when respected, is sturdier than any personality. That facts, cold, plain, stamped in blue ink facts, wait patiently while noise burns itself out. By the next week, the new map was posted in the post office, color lines marking real boundaries, real rules. People lingered, pointing, nodding, reading. I didn't know we could ask for this, a woman said. Tom shrugged. Most folks don't. That's why it matters when someone does. Sunday morning, I paused at the road's edge, boots on gravel, sun on my face. The cracks were still there, the road still old and plain. But justice for once felt real. Quiet, public, and permanent. So, where do you draw the line between what you're told and what's true? Ever watched power crumble when someone simply read the record aloud? Let me know down below. Have you ever fought back with proof and patience? Or just paid the fine to make trouble go away? Comment your thoughts. What does justice look like to you? And who really draws the boundaries where you live?